I want you to imagine for a moment that life is a mirror. What you see outside is often a reflection of what you have allowed to grow inside. Too many people spend their lives looking at everyone else's successes, everyone else's failures, comparing themselves, measuring their worth against the achievements of another person. But I want you to hear me clearly today. Your life is not theirs, and their journey is not your map. Focusing on yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. It is the first step to becoming the person you were born to be. Every great achievement begins with self-awareness. Every breakthrough begins with understanding who you are, what you want, and why you are here. The world will distract you. People will try to pull you into arguments that don't belong to you, into competitions that don't concern your purpose. But the one who succeeds is the one who refuses to get lost in the noise, the one who looks inward before looking outward. And doing the right thing, let me emphasize this. Doing the right thing is never easy. It is often lonely. It requires courage, integrity, and a vision bigger than temporary satisfaction. The right thing is what builds character, what shapes destiny, what earns respect that no money can buy. The right thing aligns with your purpose, and when you combine focus with integrity, the results are unstoppable. To know yourself is to hold the most powerful key to your life. Most people wander through the days reacting to circumstances, responding to other people's expectations, and chasing dreams that were never theirs. They wake up, go through the motions, complain about their jobs, their relationships, their finances, and yet they have never paused long enough to ask the most important question, who am I really? Knowing yourself is not about giving an answer in a single day. It is a lifelong process of discovery, reflection, and honesty with your own heart. Imagine a man who spends his entire life climbing a ladder only to discover that the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. Every step he took was a step away from his true purpose. This happens because he never took the time to understand his own potential, his own passions, or his unique gifts. To know yourself means understanding your strengths and embracing them. Many people spend their lives hiding their talents, downplaying what makes them unique, or thinking that their abilities are not enough. I have seen people with the voice of an angel work in offices where their creativity is wasted and their vision is ignored simply because they did not take the time to recognize their own value. Knowing yourself allows you to identify what you excel at naturally, what lights a fire inside you, and what brings fulfillment. It is like finding a compass that always points you in the direction of your destiny. If you ignore it, life will lead you astray, and the regret will accumulate quietly until one day you look back and wonder why you never lived the life meant for you. Knowing yourself also means confronting your weaknesses. Many people are terrified to face their flaws. They hide them, blame others, or deny their existence. But growth comes when you acknowledge what holds you back and commit to improving it. Consider a young man who struggles with patience. Every time someone disagrees with him or challenges his ideas, he becomes frustrated and reacts impulsively. Without self-awareness, he will continue destroying relationships and opportunities. But once he recognizes this pattern, he can take deliberate steps to cultivate patience, to respond with thoughtfulness rather than anger, and to transform what was once a weakness into a strength. Knowing yourself is not comfortable. It is sometimes painful, but it is always liberating. To know yourself is to recognize your true desires rather than the desires imposed by society or family. Many people pursue careers, lifestyles, or relationships because others told them they should, not because their soul resonates with them. I met a woman who spent years studying law because her parents wanted her to be a lawyer, yet her heart was in art. She painted in secret, feeling guilty for even touching a brush. When she finally allowed herself to embrace her love for painting, she discovered a joy and fulfillment she never knew existed. Knowing yourself allows you to listen to your inner voice, to separate your own dreams from the expectations of others, and to take responsibility for creating a life that reflects your authentic self. Knowing yourself also involves understanding your values and principles. When you know what you stand for, you make decisions effortlessly, and your life becomes a reflection of your beliefs. Imagine a man who values honesty but constantly tells little lies to fit in. He may appear successful, but internally he feels fractured, torn between who he is and who he pretends to be. Self-awareness heals this fracture. It allows you to make choices aligned with your inner truth, and in doing so, you create integrity, credibility, and peace of mind that no external reward can provide. To know yourself is to understand the power of your thoughts. emotions, and actions. Daily life is full of small choices. How you respond to a rude comment, how you manage stress at work, how you spend your free time. Each of these choices reveals who you are, often more clearly than words. A person who takes time to observe their reactions and patterns can identify habits that elevate them and habits that diminish them. For example, a young professional who notices he procrastinates when overwhelmed can create systems to manage time better, to focus energy on what matters most, and to prevent frustration from dictating his actions. Self-knowledge allows you to become the master of your life rather than a slave to circumstance. To know yourself is to embrace your potential and recognize that your life is your responsibility. Every daily decision, every relationship, every task is an opportunity to express the real you. When you act without understanding yourself, you risk living a borrowed life, imitating others, and wasting precious time. The person who knows themselves sees obstacles as lessons, criticism as guidance, and failure as feedback. They are not swayed by public opinion because they have an internal compass that directs them to what is right, meaningful, and fulfilling. To know yourself is to stand in front of the mirror, not just looking at your face, but looking into your own eyes, asking, reflecting, and daring to answer honestly. It is to recognize that the journey inward is the most powerful journey you will ever take, and the wisdom gained there shapes every aspect of your outward life. It is to understand that your mind, your heart, your decisions, and your actions are connected, and when aligned, they become unstoppable forces capable of creating the life you were meant to live. To set clear priorities is to take control of your life instead of letting life control you. So many people move through their days without a map, without a sense of direction, reacting to emergencies, distractions, and the demands of others. They wake up and immediately respond to emails, messages, notifications, and every little crisis that comes their way, believing that being busy means being productive. But business without clarity is chaos, and chaos leads to frustration, wasted energy, and unfulfilled dreams. Imagine a man who spends hours trying to fix a problem that is not even his responsibility, while ignoring the important task that could change his life. He is exhausted at the end of the day, yet he has made no real progress. This is why setting clear priorities is not optional, it is essential. Setting priorities begins with understanding what truly matters. Too often, people prioritize what is urgent over what is important. The urgent is loud, demanding attention, but it does not necessarily move you closer to your goals. The important is quiet, but it shapes your destiny. Consider a young woman who dreams of building her own business. Every day, she is caught up in answering social media comments, attending unnecessary meetings, and running errands for others. The urgent controls her, and she feels overwhelmed. Once she decides to prioritize her business development over trivial distractions, she starts dedicating specific hours to planning, learning, and creating, and slowly, her dream begins to take shape. Prioritizing what matters allows focus, energy, and intention to align with purpose. Setting clear priorities also means learning to say no. People fear saying no because they worry about disappointing others or missing opportunities. But every yes to something that is not aligned with your goals is a no to your own future. Think of a student who wants to excel in his studies. If he says yes to every party invitation, every social distraction, and every request that does not serve his academic success, he is silently sacrificing his dreams. When he learns to politely decline, he preserves his energy, focuses on what truly matters, and positions himself for the rewards that consistent effort brings. Priorities are not static, they must be evaluated and adjusted. Life is dynamic, and what is most important today may change tomorrow. A working mother may prioritize her career at one stage and her children's needs at another. A professional may focus on networking early in their career and shift to personal growth or financial security later. The key is intentionality. Without awareness of what deserves attention now, you drift, reacting instead of leading your own life. It is not enough to set priorities once. You must review them, refine them, and commit to them every day. Setting priorities requires discipline. The world is filled with distractions designed to steal your focus. From endless notifications to people who want to pull you into their drama, external noise will always try to hijack your time. The disciplined person understands that every hour, every minute is a resource that cannot be reclaimed. They plan their days, set their intentions, and align their actions with their top priorities. Consider an athlete preparing for a competition. If he allows distractions like gossip, social media, or unnecessary outings to dominate his schedule, he loses his edge. The same principle applies to your life. Discipline transforms priorities from abstract ideas into concrete results. Clarity in priorities also brings peace of mind. When you know what is most important, you stop comparing yourself to others, chasing what society deems successful, or being overwhelmed by competing demands. Imagine a man who focuses on his health, family, and personal growth. He refuses to be pulled into superficial competition or unnecessary stress. His life feels balanced, his decisions deliberate, and his energy preserved for what truly matters. The power of clear priorities is not just in achieving goals, it is in the serenity that comes from living intentionally. Setting priorities is ultimately about designing your future. The small decisions you make every day, how you spend your time, what tasks you tackle first, who you give your attention to, these decisions accumulate into a life story. The person who understands this does not allow random events to dictate the outcome of their life. They evaluate constantly, focus deliberately, and act with intention. They understand that their life is a reflection of the choices they make, and by setting clear priorities, they ensure that their energy, time, and efforts are invested in what will produce meaningful results and a life of fulfillment. Owning your mistakes is one of the most powerful acts of courage a person can take, yet most people run from it. They hide their errors, make excuses, blame circumstances, or point fingers at others, thinking that by avoiding responsibility, they are protecting themselves. But the truth is, every time you refuse to own your mistakes, you give away your power, you delay your growth, and you create a cycle of failure that keeps repeating. Imagine a young man who loses a client at work and immediately blames his team. He feels justified, but internally he knows that he did not prepare adequately, that he overlooked details, that he failed to communicate effectively. By blaming others, he avoids the discomfort of self-reflection, yet he also ensures that he will make the same mistakes again, because learning comes only when responsibility is embraced. Owning your mistakes begins with honesty. You must look in the mirror and admit the truth, no matter how uncomfortable. A student who fails an exam may be tempted to blame the teacher, the curriculum, or even the timing of the test. But the one who owns their failure recognizes that they did not study enough, that they did not manage time effectively, and that their preparation was insufficient. It is this honest self-assessment that transforms failure into a stepping stone. When you accept responsibility, you take control of the situation. You empower yourself to make corrections, to plan better, and to approach the next challenge with clarity and purpose. Owning mistakes also builds trust and respect. Consider a manager who makes a poor decision on a project. When he admits his error to his team, explains what went wrong, and shares his plan to fix it, he gains respect and credibility. People are drawn to those who are accountable, not those who deflect blame. The courage to own your errors demonstrates integrity, humility, and leadership. It is easy to lead when everything is perfect, but true leadership is tested when things go wrong. Those who own their mistakes inspire confidence because they show that they are willing to face reality, learn from it, and take steps to improve. Owning mistakes requires humility. Pride is the greatest obstacle to growth. Many people let ego dictate their actions, refusing to admit when they are wrong because it makes them feel small or vulnerable. But humility is not weakness, it is strength. It allows you to see situations clearly, to listen to feedback, and to embrace the lessons hidden within failure. A young entrepreneur who launched a product that failed might feel ashamed, but if she approaches the situation with humility, she will analyze what went wrong, gather insights from customers, adjust her strategy, and create a better product. Owning the mistake transforms the loss into a foundation for success. Daily life is full of opportunities to practice owning mistakes. It could be a parent who loses patience with a child, a friend who fails to keep a promise, or an employee who mismanages a task. The moment you say, "I was wrong," or "I could have done better," you break the cycle of denial and begin the process of growth. The world responds to accountability. Relationships improve, work performance increases, and self-confidence strengthens. The person who refuses to own mistakes stagnates, repeating the same errors, frustrated by circumstances they could have changed. Owning mistakes also liberates the mind and spirit. Guilt and regret weigh heavily on those who refuse to accept responsibility. They replay errors endlessly, blaming others, while feeling powerless to move forward. But when you admit your error and commit to doing better, you release the burden. Your energy is redirected from defending yourself to improving yourself. A young athlete who misses a crucial shot may feel crushed. But when he acknowledges his lapse, studies his performance, and practices diligently, he transforms failure into preparation, regret into motivation, and disappointment into determination. Owning mistakes is not just about correcting the past, it is about shaping your future. It is about making choices today that reflect accountability and integrity. Life will test everyone with errors, failures, and missteps, but those who embrace their mistakes rise faster, learn quicker, and build resilience that others cannot imitate. The person who owns their mistakes understands that perfection is not the goal, growth is. They see failure as feedback, missteps as guidance, and accountability as the pathway to mastery. Owning mistakes is the bridge between who you are and who you are capable of becoming. It transforms shame into wisdom, regret into action, and error into opportunity. It allows you to step into every situation with confidence, knowing that even if you fail, you have the power to rise, learn, and become stronger. To develop discipline is to take command over your own life, because without discipline, talent, intelligence, and potential are wasted. Many people dream about success, yet they fail to understand that dreams alone do not create results. Without discipline, a person drifts like a ship without a rudder, tossed by the winds of distraction, procrastination, and temptation. Imagine a young man who wants to become a top athlete. He trains occasionally when he feels motivated, eats whatever he wants, and goes out late at night. He blames his losses on luck, the coach, or the competition, yet he never realizes that lack of discipline is the true enemy of his success. Discipline is the bridge between goals and achievement, and it is built not in moments of comfort, but in moments when you do what you must do, even when you do not want to. Discipline begins with small, consistent choices. People often believe discipline is a grand act, something that is shown through major accomplishments. But in reality, it is in the daily routines that discipline is forged. Waking up early, committing to study, preparing meals instead of eating junk, practicing skills repeatedly, showing up when others stay in bed. These are the moments that create discipline. Consider a student preparing for exams. If she studies diligently for 2 hours every day, reviews her notes consistently, and resists distractions like social media and unnecessary outings, she gradually builds a structure of self-control that makes her unstoppable. Discipline is invisible when it is being formed, but its results are undeniable over time. Developing discipline also requires understanding your priorities and sticking to them. Life is filled with temptations designed to steal your focus, from endless notifications to peers who encourage shortcuts. The disciplined person understands the value of delayed gratification. Imagine a young entrepreneur who wants to grow a business. He refuses to spend his evenings on frivolous entertainment or instant pleasures. He invests his time in research, learning, and networking. Every disciplined choice is a brick laid in the foundation of his future success. While others chase fleeting enjoyment, he builds lasting results. And this is the power of discipline. It aligns daily actions with long-term vision. Discipline demands self-awareness and accountability. It is easy to make excuses, to blame fatigue, lack of resources, or unfavorable circumstances. But the disciplined person takes responsibility for their actions and refuses to let external factors control their outcomes. Consider a parent trying to improve the relationship with their child. Showing discipline means setting aside time every day to connect, listen, and nurture even when exhausted from work. It means consistency, not just occasional effort. Through this daily investment, trust and bond are strengthened, demonstrating that discipline is not only about personal achievement, but also about enriching relationships and life as a whole. Discipline is built through perseverance in the face of discomfort. Comfort is the enemy of growth. A young writer may feel tired, uninspired, or distracted, yet the choice to write even when it is hard is what develops discipline. Each session strengthens resolve, builds resilience, and trains the mind to push through resistance. The person who consistently practices discipline discovers a remarkable truth. The mind, when trained, becomes a servant rather than a master of fleeting emotions. Fear, laziness, and doubt lose their power when met with disciplined action. Discipline is also about consistency, not intensity. Many people try to work in bursts of energy, but abandon their goals when initial motivation fades. The disciplined person understands that steady, committed effort outperforms occasional brilliance. A musician practicing an instrument for 30 minutes every day will surpass someone who practices for 5 hours once a month. Small, repeated actions compound, and discipline is the invisible force turning potential into mastery. Developing discipline transforms character. It teaches patience, strengthens willpower, and instills confidence. It is the invisible backbone that supports achievements, allowing a person to withstand setbacks, resist distractions, and maintain focus on what truly matters. Imagine a young professional climbing the career ladder. Discipline allows him to finish tasks on time, continue learning, and maintain ethical standards, even when shortcuts are tempting. It creates reliability and excellence, qualities that attract opportunities and trust. Discipline is freedom in disguise. The undisciplined are controlled by impulses, desires, and circumstances. The disciplined, however, controls themselves, their choices, and ultimately their destiny. It is the practice of doing what must be done when it must be done, whether you feel like it or not, knowing that each disciplined act is an investment in a future that is intentionally designed rather than accidentally inherited. To prioritize integrity over popularity is to choose long-term respect and purpose over short-term approval and applause. Too many people live their lives trying to be liked, trying to impress others, and bending their actions to fit in or gain favor. They compromise their values, speak words they do not believe, and take paths that are easy but hollow, all in the name of popularity. Imagine a young professional in the office who notices a colleague taking credit for work they did not do. He knows the truth, but he fears that pointing it out might make him unpopular or create tension. If he chooses popularity over integrity, he stays silent and allows dishonesty to thrive, but he also sacrifices his own self-respect and diminishes his character. Integrity is doing the right thing, even when no one is watching, and even when it costs you comfort, friends, or applause. Prioritizing integrity begins with self-awareness. You must know what you stand for and be unwilling to compromise those principles. In daily life, this could mean refusing to gossip, resisting pressure to cheat, or speaking honestly even when the truth is uncomfortable. Consider a student tempted to copy answers during an exam. The immediate choice to cheat might win approval from peers who see it as clever, but the disciplined choice to act honestly preserves self-respect and cultivates trustworthiness. Each act of integrity strengthens character and shapes a life that others can rely on. Popularity fades, opinions change, but integrity is permanent. Living with integrity over popularity also requires courage. The world rewards conformity and sometimes punishes honesty. A person who stands by their principles will face criticism, rejection, or isolation at times. A manager in a company may reject a lucrative deal because it is unethical, even though everyone else is cheering the potential profit. In that moment, choosing integrity over popularity demonstrates true leadership. The applause of the crowd is temporary, but the respect earned by making principled choices is enduring. Courage and integrity go hand in hand, because doing what is right often requires standing alone, resisting pressure, and enduring discomfort for the sake of principle. Integrity is also the foundation of trust in relationships. People can quickly detect dishonesty, manipulation, or compromise in character. A friend who is always truthful, a partner who keeps their promises, a leader who honors commitments. These are the people who are valued not for popularity but for reliability. Imagine a parent teaching a child to value honesty. The child sees that telling the truth is more important than avoiding punishment or impressing friends. This lesson becomes internalized, shaping the child into someone who values principles over fleeting approval. Integrity multiplies in influence because it sets examples that others are compelled to follow. Prioritizing integrity over popularity requires patience. Immediate rewards from bending the truth or following the crowd may feel satisfying, but long-term fulfillment comes from knowing you did the right thing. Consider an employee who notices accounting discrepancies. Covering up the mistake might make him popular with colleagues in the short term, but correcting it, even if it draws criticism, earns long-term credibility and prevents future harm. Integrity protects you from the consequences of shortcuts and deception, while popularity built on compromise crumbles when tested. Daily life constantly presents choices between integrity and popularity. When you speak honestly at work, when you refuse to exaggerate your achievements, when you resist joining in gossip or social trends that compromise your values, you are practicing integrity. It is in these small, repeated decisions that character is formed. Popularity may provide temporary comfort, admiration, or social ease, but integrity ensures that your life is anchored, your relationships are genuine, and your conscience remains clear. Prioritizing integrity also shapes destiny. The person who consistently chooses what is right over what is easy develops a reputation that opens doors, creates influence, and inspires others. A young entrepreneur who refuses to cut corners, cheat clients, or compromise quality may face slower initial growth, but over time, their business thrives on loyalty, respect, and trust. Popularity can fade as trends change, but integrity is timeless. It is the invisible currency that guarantees long-term success, inner peace, and the confidence to face challenges without fear of compromise or regret. Living with integrity over popularity is a daily commitment, a conscious choice in every decision, action, and word. It is choosing self-respect over temporary applause, principle over convenience, and purpose over acceptance. The life shaped by this commitment is resilient, authentic, and powerful, and it carries a quiet authority that commands respect, trust, and influence naturally. To ignore toxic comparisons is to liberate yourself from the prison of other people's standards and expectations. So many people live their lives measuring themselves against others, thinking that success, happiness, or worth is determined by how they stack up in someone else's eyes. Social media, conversations, and even casual observations feed this toxic habit, making us believe that if someone else has more, is better, or achieves faster, then we are somehow failing. Imagine a young woman scrolling through her feed, seeing peers traveling, earning promotions, and appearing flawless. She feels inadequate, thinking her own progress is too slow or insignificant, yet she forgets that she is living her own journey with her own timing, her own growth, and her own purpose. Comparisons steal joy, undermine confidence, and distract from the only race that matters, the one with yourself. To ignore toxic comparisons is to embrace your own journey fully. Each person has unique talents, experiences, and timing. A child learns to walk at their own pace, yet no parent compares them to a neighbor's child. The moment you begin comparing your progress to someone else's, you create unnecessary frustration and self-doubt. Consider a young professional who sees colleagues receiving recognition for projects they completed years ago. If he compares himself, he feels discouraged, thinking he is behind. But if he focuses on his own growth, his learning, and his consistent effort, he sees that his journey is unfolding exactly as it should. Ignoring comparisons allows you to celebrate your wins, no matter how small, and to understand that progress is personal, not universal. Ignoring toxic comparisons also requires self-awareness and clarity of purpose. When you know your goals, your values, and your unique strengths, the achievements of others no longer threaten you. A writer may see another author becoming popular overnight and feel envy or insecurity. But the disciplined writer who focuses on improving craft, developing voice, and reaching their audience understands that their success is not defined by anyone else. Your journey is measured by your growth, your impact, and your alignment with purpose, not by someone else's accolades or possessions. To ignore toxic comparisons is to protect your mental and emotional health. Jealousy, envy, and self-doubt arise when comparisons dominate thought. These emotions are toxic because they create dissatisfaction, stress, and even resentment. A parent who constantly compares their child's progress with another child may unknowingly transmit pressure, anxiety, and feelings of inadequacy. Instead, focusing on the child's unique abilities, interests, and milestones fosters confidence, resilience, and self-worth. In the same way, adults who avoid comparisons can cultivate inner peace, confidence, and a mindset focused on self-improvement rather than competition. Daily life is filled with moments where comparisons can creep in. A friend receives a new car, a colleague buys a house, a neighbor gets a promotion. The natural reaction is to measure your worth against theirs. But this is the trap of toxic comparison. Instead, pause and reflect. Are these events a reflection of my inadequacy, or are they reminders of diversity in life's timing and blessings? A young entrepreneur may see another business succeed faster and feel discouraged. If he focuses on learning, improving, and executing his own plans, he will discover that his path, though different, can be equally or even more fruitful. Ignoring comparisons allows energy to be invested in action rather than envy, in growth rather than judgment, and in self-mastery rather than distraction. Ignoring toxic comparisons also encourages gratitude. When you stop measuring against others, you begin to notice your own achievements, progress, and blessings. A student who completes a course successfully may not have the highest grades, but by celebrating the effort, the learning, and the growth, they cultivate a mindset of abundance instead of scarcity. Gratitude shifts focus from what others have to what you have, what you can build, and what you are capable of achieving. To ignore toxic comparisons is to embrace authenticity. The moment you stop trying to imitate, outshine, or compete with others, you begin to live genuinely. Your choices, your actions, and your goals become reflections of your own purpose rather than reactions to someone else's path. A young artist may see peers gaining fame through trends or shortcuts, but by focusing on originality, craft, and vision, she creates lasting value and self-respect. Comparisons are distractions, authenticity is power. Ignoring toxic comparisons is the gateway to true freedom. It allows you to focus on your growth, celebrate your achievements, cultivate joy, and design a life according to your purpose. It frees you from the burden of external validation, from envy, from frustration, and from the endless cycle of measuring yourself against others. The person who masters this understands that life is not a competition with anyone else. It is a race to become the best version of oneself. To take action with purpose is to understand that activity without intention is wasted energy. So many people move through life doing things aimlessly, reacting to circumstances, or following routines that have no real meaning. They wake up, complete tasks mechanically, attend meetings, reply to messages, and go through the motions without ever asking why they are doing it or what it is achieving. Imagine a young professional who works long hours every day but has no clear vision for their career. They may receive recognition, earn a paycheck, and appear busy to others, but internally they feel unfulfilled because their actions are disconnected from a purpose greater than themselves. Action without purpose may create motion, but it never produces meaningful results. Taking action with purpose begins with clarity. You must understand your goals, your values, and your vision for your life. Purpose acts as a compass, guiding your decisions and shaping your efforts. Consider a student who wants to excel academically. If they study aimlessly, reading without focus, they waste time and energy. But when they understand why they are studying, whether to build a career, gain knowledge, or achieve personal growth, their actions become intentional. Each hour of study is no longer a task, but a step toward a meaningful outcome. Purpose transforms mundane activity into deliberate progress. Action with purpose also requires planning. Impulsive or reactive activity rarely produces results. The person who succeeds consistently takes time to strategize, prioritize, and align their actions with their objectives. Imagine a young entrepreneur who wants to launch a business. If they rush into ideas without research, planning, or clear objectives, they may burn resources, make mistakes, and feel frustrated. But by taking purposeful steps, analyzing the market, understanding the audience, creating a plan, and executing with discipline, they transform intention into results. Every deliberate action compounds into progress, while aimless effort dissipates like smoke in the wind. Purposeful action is fueled by commitment and consistency. Knowing your goal is not enough. You must follow through with daily, intentional steps. Consider a musician learning an instrument. Talent alone does not produce mastery. Only consistent practice with focus and intention allows them to develop skill, express artistry, and achieve excellence. Each session, though it may seem small, contributes to long-term achievement. Purposeful action requires persistence, discipline, and refusal to be distracted by trivial matters or temporary discomforts. Taking action with purpose also means aligning your actions with your values. What you do every day should reflect what you believe in and what you want to achieve. Consider a volunteer who dedicates time to helping others. If their actions are motivated solely by recognition or social approval, the impact is superficial. But if their service aligns with genuine values of compassion, empathy, and contribution, every action becomes powerful and transformative. Purpose gives meaning to effort, turning ordinary deeds into extraordinary results. Daily life presents countless opportunities to take purposeful action. It could be as simple as choosing how you spend your time, deciding which projects to prioritize, or determining how to respond to challenges. A young parent may choose to spend evenings reading with their child instead of scrolling on social media, knowing that these moments shape character and create lasting bonds. A professional may dedicate weekends to learning new skills, knowing that the investment will yield growth and opportunities. Purpose transforms choices from reactive to proactive, from ordinary to impactful. Taking action with purpose also inspires others. People are drawn to those who act with clarity, conviction, and direction. A teacher who consistently invests time in creating lessons that educate and inspire shapes generations. A leader who makes decisions with intention builds trust and motivates a team. Purposeful action is contagious because it demonstrates vision, integrity, and commitment, showing others that meaningful results come from deliberate effort rather than random motion. Finally, to take action with purpose is to live intentionally. Life is too short to drift, too precious to waste on trivialities, and too powerful to allow indecision or distraction to dominate. When you act with purpose, every decision, every step, every effort contributes to a larger vision. It is the difference between being busy and being productive, between existing and truly living. Purposeful action is the engine that transforms dreams into reality, intentions into outcomes, and potential into achievement. It is the discipline of connecting effort with meaning, and it is the path to a life that resonates with impact, fulfillment, and extraordinary results. As we come to the close of this conversation, I want you to take a moment and look inward, not outward, because everything you have been learning, everything you have been hearing is a call to action within your own life. Life is not a rehearsal. It is happening right now, in every second, in every choice, in every breath you take. The person you are becoming today is built from the decisions you make in this very moment. And the power to shape your future rests entirely in your hands. Every day presents a new opportunity to focus on yourself, to take ownership, to elevate your purpose, and to create a life that is not dictated by chance, opinion, or circumstance, but by intention, integrity, and action. I want you to imagine the life you have always dreamed of, the version of yourself that walks with confidence, that carries vision in every step, that approaches challenges with courage and persistence. That life is not some distant fantasy. It is the natural result of focusing on you, of consistently doing the right thing, and refusing to be distracted by the noise of the world. Many people spend their entire lives looking for shortcuts, seeking approval, or waiting for luck, not realizing that greatness is never found outside of you. Greatness is cultivated within, in the choices you make when no one is watching, in the moments when it is easier to quit than to continue, in the days when perseverance seems impossible, but you press forward anyway. You must understand that every mistake you have ever made, every failure you have ever experienced, and every setback you have faced is not a punishment. It is feedback. The universe is not working against you. It is providing lessons, shaping you, and preparing you for the extraordinary life that is waiting. To learn from mistakes, to own them, to rise above them, and to apply the wisdom gained is the mark of a person who refuses to be ordinary. It is in these moments that your character is built and your resilience is forged and your destiny is claimed. Focus on yourself relentlessly. Do not allow comparison, envy, or distraction to steer your mind. The person who looks outside constantly will always miss the clarity within. Your purpose is unique, your path is unique, and your journey must be honored as such. Remember that success is not determined by what others achieve or by the applause of the crowd. It is measured by alignment, integrity, and the fulfillment that comes when your actions reflect your true self. The world will try to tell you what is possible, what is acceptable, or what is realistic, but the person who focuses on their potential creates results that defy expectations. Do the right thing, even when it is hard, even when it is lonely, even when the world is watching but not applauding. Integrity is the invisible currency that compounds over a lifetime. The choices you make when no one is looking will define you far more than the choices made for show or convenience. History is full of people who achieved extraordinary things not because it was easy, but because they refused to compromise their principles. They understood that doing the right thing is the foundation of trust, leadership, and lasting success. People will forget what you said. People may forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel and the principles you stood for. Discipline yourself, harness your time, and master your energy. The person who waits for motivation to appear is like a sailor who waits for the wind to change instead of raising the sails. Consistency, persistence, and deliberate effort create results that are unstoppable. Small daily actions repeated with focus and intention compound into a life of achievement, respect, and fulfillment. The ordinary person sees a single step as insignificant, but the wise person sees that each step builds a path toward destiny. Remember to embrace your potential fully. The gifts, talents, and abilities you possess are not accidental. They are tools designed for a purpose greater than convenience, greater than comfort, and greater than ordinary living. Do not waste your days doubting, hesitating, or conforming. The person who acts with purpose recognizes that every choice, every action, every effort is a seed planted toward harvest. Even failures are seeds when viewed through the lens of growth and intention. Your life is a garden, and what you plant today will determine what you harvest tomorrow. Do not fear solitude, for it is in the moments alone that clarity emerges. It is in quiet reflection that your mind discerns the noise from the truth, the temporary from the essential, and the ordinary from the extraordinary. Greatness is not found in crowds, trends, or approval. It is found in the ability to align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your purpose, and to act relentlessly toward that vision. I want you to hear this clearly. The person who focuses on themselves, who acts with integrity, who develops discipline, who ignores comparison, and who takes purposeful action will always rise above mediocrity. Your potential is limitless, your capacity for achievement is unbounded, and your ability to impact the world is extraordinary. Do not settle for less than you were born to achieve. Do not let fear, doubt, or distraction define your path. The world needs the contribution only you can make, and the best time to start is now, in this very moment, with the choices you make today. Look around you, see the opportunities, the challenges, the people, and the situations that test your resolve. Every obstacle is a teacher, every delay is preparation, and every challenge is a stepping stone. The person who masters themselves, who focuses on their growth and walks in principle, does not stumble under pressure. They rise stronger, wiser, and more capable. The life you desire is not given. It is earned through focus, integrity, discipline, purpose, and relentless action. It is built one day at a time, one choice at a time, and one act of courage at a time. Do not wait for conditions to be perfect. Conditions will never be perfect. Greatness is created by those who act despite imperfection, who move forward despite fear, and who remain faithful to their vision and values no matter what the world throws their way. Embrace your journey, own your choices, and step into the life you were designed to live. Know that within you lies the power to change, to achieve, to inspire, and to leave a legacy that will outlast time. Focus on you, do the right thing, and act with relentless purpose, because your life is not just a story to be told. It is a legacy to be lived, a masterpiece in progress, and a beacon of hope for those who will follow in your footsteps. I want you to leave here today with this understanding: life is not about impressing anyone else. It is about developing yourself, making choices that honor your potential, and taking steps every day that move you closer to the life you were designed to live. Focus on you. Do the right thing. And remember, greatness is not born out of luck or convenience. It is the reward of those who consistently choose purpose over distraction, integrity over compromise, and action over hesitation. The moment you decide to focus on yourself, to value your purpose more than anyone's opinion, and to act with integrity even when no one is watching, you step into a power that cannot be shaken. The world may try to tell you that shortcuts work, that compromise is acceptable, or that popularity equals success. But history has shown that the people who endure, the people who leave legacies, are those who focused on themselves, worked relentlessly, and refused to abandon what is right for what is easy. Today, I challenge you to ask yourself, are you living for someone else's applause or your own excellence? Are you compromising your values for comfort? Or are you building character that lasts forever? Focus on you. Do the right thing. And I promise you, when you do, doors will open, opportunities will find you, and the life you were meant to live will unfold before your eyes.